How'd you do that? See, I'll be a little slow.
Okay, and we are live. And my name is Keisha Young. I'm the facilitator and the marketing consultant for WAVE. And today we're going to be talking about WAVE's new housing support programs. This today is in honor of Charlize Smith, the executive director of WAVE's son, who passed away suddenly, Marcus Christian. His dream was about providing stable housing, home buyer education, and we are continuing on his dream with these support programs. And we're going to start it off with Charlize Smith, the executive director of WAVE. And we're going to talk about first the mission and the vision of WAVE. So, Charlize, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, can you share today, like, what your vision behind Wave's holistic approach
Mhm.
is, and why you decided that this holistic approach was the answer to the housing crisis that we have in Allegheny County today?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I want to thank my team for taking time off today. Today, our organization, October 3rd, is considered our holiday. This is a holiday that we designate this day to honor the memory of my son, Marcus Christian. He was my first housing counselor. He loved credit. He loved seeing African American males mainly get through some of the hurdles when it comes to home ownership. And just to give you a little bit of background, I'm so happy heavenly birthday, son, and we love you. And we're going to celebrate you today. But to talk about the organization, well, Lisa's agency for Vision and Empowerment is an organization that was named after my mom. My mom was murdered in front of me at the age of 3, and I wanted to build a foundation in reference to her name. And a part of this mission and vision, our mission is to create housing and economic stability for at-risk individuals and low-to-income communities through personal empowerment, skill set development, problem solving, and wealth building. And we do this from a holistic approach, right? I just so you know, I come from low to moderate income communities. My background, I am a real estate broker. So I want everyone to be clear. I understand the 4350. I understand that HUD policies. And I believe that just because I'm a real estate broker, when most people think of real estate brokers, we think of for sales or we think of real estate firms. But my calling was to be in the space of low to moderate income communities. So I'm very familiar with low to moderate tax credit properties, public housing, Section 8, site-based Section 8, as well as multifamily. And so when I was in this journey of working in this space, being a property manager years ago, I recognized that there was a gap between the property manager as well as the resident. And what I observed is I would have residents who would come in my office and they would say, Ms. Shar, my rent's only, I don't have any income, so that their rent could be $0. But yet my observation and my discernment, I would literally see them come into my office with their fresh nails done, their hair done, all this external stuff was completed. They were looking good on the outside, but when we did home inspections, their homes were like in deplorable conditions. And so I understood that, one, they were nervous to even tell the truth to their landlord, to the property managers about what was really going on. And there was something about me identifying with them because I come from living in low to moderate income communities. I lived in Robinson Court as a little girl. My grandmother lived in Warren Court. Me personally, as a young adult, I lived in Elmore Square. So I know what it's like to live in low to moderate income communities, try to climb out, start making some money, and be afraid to go to the landlord to say, hey, my money increased, right? Because I was afraid that, one, my subsidy was going to fall from up underneath my feet, and two, my rent was getting ready to go high, and I was not emotionally in the right mindset to be able to handle the adjustment, right? And so back in 2012, as I was a regional manager, I got stabbed on a job 5 times by a woman who had mental health issues. And so once I went through that process, that's how I created WAVE. And I started looking at how residents feel uncomfortable to come talk to their landlord and to talk about the issues that they were dealing with and how they didn't have the freedom to go into there and say, hey, my rent went up, my income went up, excuse me. I know I have to do an adjustment in my rent. And so we created, and I'm not going to talk about these programs, I'm going to let Keisha jump in, but I just wanted to give you a backdrop of how this stuff came about, right?
Yeah.
We are the #1 rental counseling agency in Allegheny County. I believe we are the only organization that does rental counseling the way that we do. And so it was time for us to get out here to talk about our new programs, our new branding, and we wanted to launch this stuff on the day of my beloved son's birthday. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Keisha.
Yeah. So just hearing what you just said, so you know how you said like people will come in and their rent would be $0, you know, but they look good. So do you think this comes with like a self-esteem type of issue where people want to feel good about themselves, so they, you know, they dress it up kind of like to make things look
Mhm.
good, but then in the behind the scenes they're really struggling
Mhm.
with other things, is what you're saying. Like they really probably want to be um probably not in public housing. They probably want to be
Mhm.
homeowners. They probably want to live in a better neighborhood and things like that. So what are the things that you think comes into place that make people, I guess, like, you know, I guess appear to be one way, but at the same time they want better housing and things like that. Like what do you think is needed for that to happen? Like what type of services do you think is needed for that to happen?
So one, just full transparency, a lot of us come from a traumatic background, like,
Mm-hmm.
trauma. And what I'm noticing, and just full transparency in this space, everybody want to throw trauma around, but everybody has not walked through trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now trauma is the buzzword. And I want to tip my hat off to Catapult Greater Pittsburgh. They are one of our #1 partners. I would be amiss not to even mention them because we do a lot of partnerships together. But the reality of it is that, once they started this buzzword, a lot of other organizations are throwing it around. But guess what? Residents see through who you are. So
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't come from it, it's hard for you to even talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we had to do was be transparent. We had to let our people know that it's okay to come in here. It's okay for you to be free, because if you don't allow people to be free, they're not going to be honest with you. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about the trauma that they're going through, and they're not going to feel like they are in a safe place, right?
Yeah.
Also, I recognize that people do definitely have some financial issues, right? But behind those financial issues come low self-esteem, dressing up the outside instead of taking care of the inside. Your
Mm-hmm.
environment, right? If other kids is wearing Nikes and you got kids, you don't want your kids, depending on what your trauma is, you don't want your kids to be in an environment where they feel that they can't afford to wear Nikes and
Yeah.
those external things, right?
Yeah.
Then we talk about the food disparities, right? So now you dressing up the outside, and now you're buying all this processed food. So now we're dealing with obesity. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with all these additional issues, right? But when you're coming out of those situations, we believe that you need a three-prong assessment and three-prong items to equip you so that you're safe. So we got to look at your money. We look at the food and things that you're entering into your body, and Tiana could talk more about her program. And then we also provide a case manager, right? And we provide these three items simultaneously, right? Because it's very easy to give somebody some money and send them off, but we haven't tapped into the issues. I
Yeah.
am not taking anything away from E-Rap. I
Yeah.
loved it. I believe families needed it. But my stance is this: if there was not any controls in place to truly keep them self sufficient, now when we look at, like you talked about, the statistics on the Allegheny County website, now we
Mm-hmm.
got this 10,000 people, a lot of people who've already received E-Rap getting ready to be evicted again. But
Yeah.
no, Wave is wrong for standing on their beliefs in terms of, we're not just going to give you money. you're going to be held accountable in order for you to be truly self-sufficient. Because
Yeah.
I want to rest that night knowing that I did the best that I could, and you
Yeah.
not knock on my door and we were an enabler instead of being empowering you to be the best version of you.
Yes, I love that because, like, even on that Allegheny County analytics website, it shows that between September 3rd and October 3rd, that there was 1,532 eviction cases filed in Allegheny County. And then if you look at it from the beginning of this year till now, there was over 10,000 cases filed for landlord tenant eviction rates. So it goes to show that there definitely is a need for some sort of support in Allegheny County. And we have all these, we have all these organizations that provide financial assistance, they provide housing and things like that, but yet and still the rates are still going up. So basically what you're saying is, like, from what you see, the piece that's missing is that holistic approach where it's that one-on-one coaching every month. If you need to meet with someone to talk about when your recertifications are due and things like that, we have someone here to kind of, like, be like an accountability partner
Mhm.
to guide you through this to make sure that you stay in your homes and you're avoiding these evictions. So
Absolutely.
do you think that this is all a cause of just like the COVID thing, or do you feel like this is something that has just been in the makings for a while?
This is a historic event.
Hmm.
COVID just exposed what was already going on,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
A lot of organizations, and we have a lot of amazing organizations out here who are trying to support families. And a lot of those organizations come from a reactive approach, which
Yep.
is fine. We definitely need people in that space. But our organization is a proactive approach. And as our counselors talk about some of the new initiatives that we have launched, we're coming from a proactive approach because we understand that in order to get to full housing stabilization, the housing stabilization needs to start at the beginning of occupancy. And
Hmm.
so our goal is to literally partner with a lot of these organizations, a lot of these landlords, so that we can be the mediator between the landlord as well as the residents, so that they know that they have a safe place, number one, and
Hmm.
number two, so we could catch them in the beginning, hold them accountable to some things that they just need to do.
Yeah.
And that's how you get, if somebody gonna keep giving me something free and I'm not stable, I'm gonna keep taking the free,
Yeah.
right? Right?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
going to
easier.
take the free. So we created these initiatives, our Anchor program and our Rent program and our Ready program, which is some of the programs that we are going to discuss today. But in that, we wanted to make sure that we are very transparent to our families as well as to our landlords. We are not the agency that is going to enable people. If
Yeah.
that's the kind of agency you want, please don't send them to WAVE,
Yeah.
because our goal is to get these folks out of low to moderate income communities so that they can be self-sufficient. But if they choose to stay, because there's nothing wrong with that. Let me make that clear. But if they choose to stay, they should be in a space where they can develop and thrive.
Yeah. I respect that. So, like, as far as looking forward, what are your plans for expanding these housing support programs and getting more people involved and making sure they're more accessible to the families that need them?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm having a little technical issues. Absolutely. I participate in a lot of eviction prevention cohorts where I'm on committees. We have conversations, hard conversations about a lot of the issues that are occurring in the eviction prevention communities. I'm learning to align ourselves with the right partners in order for our partners to create the space for us to be creative, and all of our service cannot be free. Let me be very clear about that. So our goal is to establish contracts with developers as well as the City of Pittsburgh Housing Authority. I have a meeting with them tomorrow. We've already established a contract with Allegheny County Housing Authority where we are working with some of the families there. And we have several partnerships, but through our partnership, we're focusing on tenant support programs, eviction prevention, and landlord tenant relationships, but we are doing it from a proactive.
Yeah.
We do it at the beginning. We got bombarded, and I'm sure when Dallas talked, she could talk beyond any of us. The volume of calls that we received, to the point where people were referring so many people to our agency that my team had to sit me down with the head of my ED and say, we can't move like this.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying us for the volume of calls where we're dealing with having to do virtual home inspections, and people got rodents in their house, and they're sending us pictures with all the drama that's going on with their house, and we're trying to mediate beyond finances, right? Because we're a PHFA HUD certified housing counseling agency. I don't know if I said that, but we are mandated by the state and federal government to provide a list of services, and the list of services that we are mandated to provide is coming from a financial approach. Our HUD resources limit us to do some case management services, but not to the volume that we need in order to really handle what we need to handle for our family. So there has been times I have come out of my pocket to make sure that we provide the holistic approach of services for these families. So in that, we had to take a deeper dive and say, how can we revamp our program to touch each one of our families financially, but provide the holistic approach?
Yep. And I really appreciate that. As someone who has a Section 8 voucher myself, and just understanding how to navigate these landscapes, sometimes it's not about, you couldn't pay your rent. Like, there's all these other things that come into place, like your mental health, and just the circumstances that you are in at that moment can really affect you, stand, like, not only taking care of your responsibilities, but also holding people accountable for the things that they are supposed to do for you as well. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, the effort that you put in to kind of, help us become more stable in our housing environments and get us to the next level. And with that said, I feel like it's a good time to go into the tenant support programs, because I feel like most of the things, like your initiative right now, like you've been big on the HUD housing education and things like that, but now you're really tapping into this tenant sector. So if we could talk to the tenant support programs, which is Tiona and Dallas, and just start talking a little bit about, how W.A.V.E.'s tenant support programs are helping people stay in their homes. Let's talk about that for now. So either one, Tiona or Dallas, like, how do you feel about the services that W.A.V.E. is offering, and how do you feel like they help people stay in their homes?
Well, good afternoon, panel, as well as the viewers. My name is Tiona Weston, and I'm a housing counselor at W.A.V.E. organization, and my program is the R.E.A.D.Y program. And that program just means that, guess what? We're recognizing that everything ain't done yet. Meaning that, guess what? Let's break the barrier. Let's break the vicious cycle and the bad habits of not knowing how to strategize and meet our financial goals.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our focus is on the R.E.A.D.Y program. We kind of dissect, we kind of get into your business, because guess what? Why are you still coming back and forth and creating a space for you where you're falling behind in rent? You're not meeting your monthly bill obligations. There's a reason. We got to get to the root. We can't say, okay, come to us. We'll help you. We're going to pay your rent. We're going to help you out this month and then send you on your way. No, like Ms.H.O.R said, everybody likes a payment. Everybody, if it's free, we're going to come to you. We're going to receive it. But we got to get into the why. And the why is what we kind of come from and what we counsel on. Okay, I want you to be able to meet your financial goals. I want you to be able to, when you get your check, not say, guess what, it's going before I even get it. Because we all feel like that sometimes. So guess what? Rent is important. It is so important. And the rates are high. The eviction rates are high. Landlords are getting smarter now. They're not saying, guess what, we're going to keep on giving you time and time and time. Sometimes if your rent isn't paid by the 10th, they're going to send an eviction notice, because guess what? They have bills and things themselves. So with the R.E.A.D.Y program, we recognize that everything isn't done yet, and we focus on credit, debit, and budget, as well as we have a life skills coach and a health and wellness coach to help our clients as well, because it starts at home. From what we're eating, like Ms. S.C.R.E.E.N said, what we're putting in our bodies, what we're feeding our children, that helps. That kind of creates like, okay, how we go on, how we think, how we deal with things. If I'm eating a lot of sugar, or versus vegetables, or whatever our choices that we make are different.
Yeah.
So with the R.E.D.Y program, we focus on meeting your financial goals and dissecting the why. Why are you falling into this environment? So let's create a budget. Let's create a livable budget that says like, okay, I know I get this amount every 2 weeks or every weekly or by month, by semi-monthly, however you get paid. Let's create a budget to see, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing with my money? Responsibility. I always tell people, at the end of the day, you are responsible for your choices you make. So when things happen, you can't say, well, why did, who am I to blame? Who am I to blame? You have to blame yourself. So it starts with accountability. Yeah, we're going to help you, but you got to be able to help yourself. And I think that that's what a lot of our clients are so used to, is the help and not the accountability. And you have to kind of take a accountability and take hold of your finances. But when you come from a background of maybe living in the inner city, where you don't come from a family that are homeowners, or where you didn't talk about money and credit and debit, so you kind of don't know where to start. All you do is know how to rob Peter to pay Paul and stay afloat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we kind of get into the, guess what? Let's dissect and let's get into the why, and let me help you meet your financial goals. A lot of us don't know about credit and debit. They don't teach us that in
I
high
know
school.
I didn't at all. Like, I'm still learning. A lot of this stuff, I'm still learning. It's so hard to navigate. Like, and sometimes even when it's still hard to put that all into practice. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, I'm learning all this stuff, but how do I put this into my everyday life, especially when I'm used to living a certain type of way? How do I get to that next level where I'm starting to be more responsible and more accountable for the decisions I'm making that's affecting my living situations? Sometimes that's hard. Even though we do know there are systematic things that come into place that make this harder for people, we also know that sometimes it is you, and the real change come within yourself first before we start asking the government or anybody else to make these changes for us. We know that. So who would you say benefits the most?
Fiona, let me step in that. And you are absolutely correct. But guess what? Sometimes we don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because we don't know, it's our responsibility and our organization to make it a safe place for you to feel comfortable, to know that it's okay not to know, number one. And number two, this is a safe place for you to let all those barriers down. Right? That is plaguing you from being your best version of you.
All that.
So I want our clients out there to know, listen, I had a 4-something credit score. Okay. We walk, okay, what we talk. We walk. Everybody on our team, we are held accountable. Okay, I ain't gonna rush you, but when you gonna work on your credit, boo?
Or
if we see something going down,
sometimes you need
right
that.
now,
It's like
or if I got a staff who want to self-sabotage and quit, why are you trying to quit, girl? Because back in the day, we didn't have them places, right? You late for 5 minutes on the job, they cut you. You trying to raise your kids and get to work, and you having a depressed day, or you going to postpartum depression, they cut you. They don't give you that opportunity to have a fall and get back up. They ready to cut you. So we got to make sure that we keep that space so people know, you know what? I'm going through some stuff today, Ms. S.C.R.E.E.N. I need a moment.
And I think it also goes to, like you said, needing that safe space. A lot of people don't have that safe space, and then just within our community, a lot of it comes as you have to have. We all keep the front on.
That mask
I
on.
appear to be doing good. As long as I appear to be doing good, I'm doing good. So much judgment, and people in our community are so used to saying, "Oh, I don't care what nobody think about me," but really deep down, you do.
And to falsely convince yourself as well, too. That facade. After so long, you try and convince yourself that, okay, maybe if I act like it doesn't bother me,
then it's not real.
Not realistic.
It crumbles eventually. It all tumbles down eventually. So I think that's the big thing of trying to keep up an image, and we're not there, and you got low credit, and you have low self-esteem, and your at-home life's a mess, and some have kids and you're struggling, you're on subsidy, what they say, keeping up with the Joneses. So a lot of people just trying to keep up and just not knowing, like you said, Keisha, just starting with ourselves and taking accountability. And sometimes when you glance at yourself in the mirror, you might be like, "Dang, I don't like how I look." But when you really stare at yourself long and you be like, "Man, I'm a mess. I gotta get myself together." That's when your healing starts. That's when you can start to become a better
that's
you.
When the real journey
with your
starts.
Credit and just touching on different departments in your life. And you have, like Ms. Shar said, you have to walk through that trauma to get there. Yes. And even with myself, I had to look myself in the mirror a few years ago and say, it's time to buckle down. It's time to tighten up to get to these steps. You know, I don't know everything, but I know I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start with what I know, and I'm gonna find on resources.
Yep. And it really starts to affect, like that's what Mary Hester said, and it's generational. Yes, it is generational. And it starts to affect your kids too. Like whatever happens to you is happening to your kids, whether you notice it or not. And sometimes you have to break that cycle somewhere. And I love how WAVE is really tying in that holistic approach where it's like, okay, yeah, we're not just giving out financial assistance. We're not just saying, here's a house that we have, even though these are all great things. We're saying we are connecting with you as like peers, like a coach, to say, we understand what you're going through. You can come to us, let your guard down, let all that guilt go, and really tell us what's going on. And you guys have been successful with that. You bring people in and they really are able to let that guilt go and really able to tell you what's really going on for you to really provide services that are really sustainable in the end, you know, because someone can come in, okay, yeah, I have this eviction notice, you give them rent assistance, but when you're really able to connect with someone and they're really able to tell you what's really going on with them, you can really help them on deeper levels than any of this other stuff can, you know. So I love that approach that you guys are taking to really tackle this housing crisis in Allegheny County. So
yes, and a lot of our clients, a lot of the clients that I counsel, they love the fact that we provide a life skills coach, because sometimes you know that life skills coach create like a safe space for you to talk to and be real, and they're real with you, and they help you recognize things that you don't even recognize in yourself, like your strengths. You know what I mean? So so sometimes it's just the feedback that I get from clients is so and even like appreciated. They're appreciated because, like they said, you know, we have friends, we have family members, we have brothers and sisters that we communicate, but sometimes it's so good to talk to somebody who don't know about things that you are going through, because they give it to you in a different way than what you're used to. You know what I mean? And what you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? So I love that, and I love our health and wellness aspect of it too, because what goes into our body affects how we think, how we strategize,
how you deal with stress and all that.
And I think on one of the classes with you, Tiana, Ms.H.O.R, she gave out a survey, and you know, to ask them about their mental. And when it came back, I believe it was 90% of the people that were in crisis were depressed. So that definitely goes into it. And if we didn't have those groups, we wouldn't have learned it.
Absolutely, I really think so. I really do. So who would you say benefits more from these programs? If someone was to want to say, I want to apply for the R.E.A.D.Y program, who would you think would be most beneficial? This program would be most beneficial to? Like, what situation would you be in to say, I need the R.E.A.D.Y program?
A person that wants to take hold of their financial goals, a person wants to get in tune with their financial goals, a person that says, guess what? I know what I'm supposed to do. I have this, I work, but sometimes I'm not meeting all my bills, or I'm not balancing correctly. So I need that push. I might need somebody to help me build that structure. I might need somebody to help me implement, okay, how do I go? I don't know about these numbers. I don't know about credit. What does this mean? How does this number factor into what it is? So somebody that's willing to say, guess what? I want to grab hold of my finances, and I want to have financial freedom. You know what I mean? Somebody who wants to say, like, guess what? I could see myself kind of falling behind, but before I do that, I want to get the proper help, or I want to get somebody to help me strategize on how to balance, how to strategically budget. You know what I mean? How somebody who teach me, like, okay, or let me know, what does this number mean? How do they come up with these numbers when they pull your credit report? What does, you know what I mean? Like character, history, all this takes into effect, bill payment. You know what I mean? If you're somebody that knows that you want to be a homeowner within 18 to 24 months, 3 to 5 years, you got to start now. You have to start breaking your habits and changing things to say, okay, guess what? I got to get in the mindset of paying on time with my bills, or I have to get in the mind frame of making sure that my rent's paid before the 5th of every month, and keep it going. So someone who wants to grab hold of their finances, someone who I'm talking to the people who want to, guess what? I see that I'm doing okay right now, but I might fall behind, but I need structure. So anybody like that, I encourage them to come to WAVE, come to the R.E.A.D.Y program, because even if you don't need rental assistance or things of that nature, like I said, we touch on credit, debit, and budget. I have a life skills coach as well as a health and wellness coach. We have someone for everyone, because we're never done. You're never done learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you order, that means you should be up here. You know what I mean? Like if you have a cap on what you can learn or how you can navigate and budget and strategize on, you know, I just feel like, come on, come to us. We got you.
I also would love to throw in someone who understands that it's not like a quick fix. It's something, it's a process or journey that you would have to be open to committing to over the course of, you know, it can be anywhere from 6 to 9 months. Like with our R.E.A.D.Y program, the counseling that I won't say required, but in order to receive some sort of incentive at the end of your journey, you have to be able to commit to meeting monthly to discuss any of those changes, what you've been saving, if there's been no change with saving, someone that's realistic, willing to discuss, you know, any humps or barriers in the road. They have to understand that this isn't just a, you know, oh, meet twice. We build an action plan, go over, oh, you saved $100 this month. Boom. That's it. It's a long stride. Absolutely. And to emphasize one of our main points with sustainability, you know, you have to be able to look back and see, you know, this is where I was in February. It's now November and you need to be closer to your goal, or maybe if you're not, have a more realistic goal. So making those adjustments and tweaks as they're needed, having that time to build another emphasis with our counseling and having that safe space that Kristen and Ms.H.O.R. and Tiana were describing. That's important so that you can kind of see their overall picture of, you know, where they're at, where they want to be, what those goals look like, and how we can get you there, and committing to, you know, building that relationship with us and trusting us to make sure that, you know, those goals are met. So sorry, I just want to throw that in. I didn't mean to take over for you.
Thank you, Dallas.
Talking about that. So like, and it all talking about the incentive. So what type of, so WAVE does offer this the R.E.A.D.Y program with WAVE offers financial assistance at some point, right? Like, so if you are behind on the rent, you do offer financial assistance to people who are behind on the rent, right?
We do. And to piggyback off of what Dallas said, that's why it's important. It's not a quick fix. We're not just here to say, okay, we're going to pay your rent. We want to have 12 sessions with you, 12 touches with you, to make sure that we are communicating and understanding your barrier and strategizing. So yes, there is a rental incentive that we do have upon completion of your counseling hours. And that changes due to the funding at that time. Sometimes it's 30% of 1 month's rent. When there's when we have enough funds in the caddy, sometimes we're able to pay, you know, 3 months of a client's rent, a portion of their rent. Realistically, usually with that 3-tier program, it was 75% the first month, 50% the second month, 25% the third month that we'll pay. However, we are asking you to, guess what, since we are helping you and we're doing these 12 touches of counseling and we're being able to help you with rent, we're going to ask you that, guess what, let's implement and start that emergency savings fund. And that should be doable, because we are helping you with your rent for those 3 months or that month or whatever. So it's important to have a savings. So yes, we do have a rental assistant incentive upon completing the counseling sessions with the R.E.A.D.Y program.
And just let me just jump in real quick. I'm very grateful that our team don't disclose everything that we do. That's a portion of it. And, you know, because we are a smaller organization, sometimes there are things that we cannot disclose to the public on how we do what we do, because I recognize that we are a smaller organization, and a lot of times competition will take your idea and run with it. So let me just jump in and say their executive director is very knowledgeable on the 4350 HUD regulations. And so when we have conversations with landlords, our approach will be a little different than some of your typical individuals who may mediate with the landlord. Our approach is so different, and we've had an amazing success rate with a pot of money that was given to us for some individual families that we were able to provide assistance for. So let me just say that. So if you want to know about those secret sauce things and you want to participate, if you are a landlord, come talk to me about an MOU partnership. And if you are a resident, come register and we can tell you what that looks like.
Oh, I think you're muted, Keisha.
You're muted, Keisha.
Sorry, I was on mute. So we, under the tenant assistance program, we just discussed the R.E.A.D.Y program and who that supports and who can benefit from that program and how you can apply. But then we also have the A.N.C.H.O.R program, and then we also have the R.E.N.T program. So Dallas and Tiana, can y'all tell us a little bit more about who would benefit from the A.N.C.H.O.R program?
Yes. So our A.N.C.H.O.R program, it's an acronym as well. It stands for Assisting New Communities in Housing and Occupancy Readiness. Okay. It's a mouthful, but it works as one of our new acronyms for a program that's been in the works. And so that provides a pre-rental counseling for families that focuses on all of the necessary steps to ensure that you have a successful and a sustainable tenancy. And even just with experience with a lot of tenants that fell into high delinquent balances over the course of, a couple of years, just with everything we were dealing with during COVID and quarantine and people being unemployed. A lot of factors that contributed to that hole that they fell in. So Ms. H.O.R had thought about it, sat on it, prayed on it, and she's trying to figure out, how we can insert ourselves in their home. Well, I shouldn't say home buying, not at that point, but establishing tenancy somewhere. If it's their first place that they're renting, if they're trying to get out of a bad situation with property management that they may either didn't trust or had some issues with, whatever the problem that they face, we were trying to find a way to offer services at the beginning of their tenancy and when they're reading through their lease and what to expect and knowing what they need versus what they want in a home and taking that realistic look at what they can afford, where they may have fell into some issues before, and also focusing on building that positive relationship with their landlord as well, so that if any kind of issue or unexpected expense, anything that could kind of just happen at any time, to try and strengthen those relationships so that you can be more open with your landlord about, hey, I fell behind this month due to this, but, hopefully WAVE will hold them accountable and let them know, okay, how are you going to fix this? How do we take a look at where you're at now and adjust your finances to make that extra payment? If it's accepting a late payment and splitting that in half and doing one at the beginning of the month and the end of the month, really working with the tenant and also reassuring the landlord that this tenant just had a small hiccup, isn't looking for, any kind of long-term, hey, can I have, 3 months without, trying to think of any situation, but all in all to say, definitely strengthening those relationships with landlords and inserting ourselves at the beginning of the journey and then continuing to check in, back to that emphasis on counseling and sustainability, checking in at month 3 where, okay, how are you looking on rent payments? Is this monthly rent amount realistic for you? Are you able to maintain this? Do you need to start considering something cheaper or getting another form of income or getting family help, whatever those adjustments that may need to be made, just discussing them, checking in, setting those goals. We complete action plans after I shouldn't say after, during or after every counseling appointment with tenants, so that they're aware of what we discussed at counseling, what's important, what's a long-term goal, all of the above.
I love that. So it sounds like A.N.C.H.O.R will be good for anyone entering tenancy. Like, as soon as you get in there, like, this is not about whenever you got an eviction notice or anything. It's like, as soon as you get into a home, this is a good program to kind of like support you on that way, so that you never fall into that category of being evicted. It's like, you're teaching all the rights and responsibilities. You have that one-on-one for like accountability coaching.
Empowering those families. Absolutely.
I love that. So that's great. And like everyone knows, you can apply for any of these programs on WAVE's website at www.waveoflife.org. And you can contact any of the housing counselors and get enrolled into any of these programs. So then when it comes to the R.E.N.T program, how does that program fall into place? Like, what is that program about?
So that also has a primary focus of counseling. Most of the tenants that are within the R.E.N.T program have a delinquent balance, but because of limited funding pretty much everywhere, it seems like, back to what Ms. H.O.R had noted about the significant increase of phone calls that we were getting for any and all reasons under the sun. It was great that, everybody was thinking, hey, reach out to WAVE, maybe WAVE can help. But we realized, like, okay, this is going to be difficult trying to navigate because so many people are in crisis, and so many people feel like their back is against the wall, and and also dealing with tenants that are I don't want to say heightened emotions, but it's a lot of it can be a panic. And some of the phone calls I've had, people are in tears, and they really feel like they're at their wits' end. And so we always make sure that we try and offer as many resources and any sort of contact directive. I'm so sorry, my dog is
okay.
That's
I'm just gonna mute myself for one.
So just to piggyback, one of my initiatives have been to build relationships with multifamily developers as well as communities. And most people know that there's a huge issue with a specific new owner in Homewood. And we are currently in conversations in reference to us providing pre-rental counseling services through our R.E.N.T program. And so the way that this process would work, and because this is a new initiative, they will literally contact us as new individuals come in. Once these new individuals come in, they will participate in group rental counseling. This group rental counseling will cover topics like fair housing. This group counseling will cover topics like understanding your rent. This group counseling. And so because this one portfolio that we are really targeting that are having a lot of issues, and my team, they don't know everything that I'm doing behind the scenes, but this is a huge portfolio within the city of Pittsburgh. And literally every client that applies before lease up, they will participate in a group session before they sign their lease. Once we give them this certificate, they will then proceed with signing their lease and moving into their unit, with the understanding that if they become delinquent, they can reach out to our organization as well as the property manager. So those are some of the behind the scenes strategizing that we have been working on. Well, me as the executive director has been working on in order to enhance our rental programs.
I like that. I think it's so needed right now. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding, like I said. Like, when you look at the statistics of how many the eviction rates, it goes to show that there is something missing. And I think there's this holistic approach where you dive deeper into what's really going on. So I really like the A.N.C.H.O.R program, the R.E.A.D.Y program, the R.E.N.T program. I feel like they all kind of like target what the real issues are. So I love that. And I also like going into our next segment is the home program. I like how now that you're stable in your tenancy, we also support you with that topic of home buyer education and home ownership. And so we have Lene Solomon and then we have Kristen Ballard here today to talk about the home program with WAVE and how we help prepare people for home ownership. So yeah, Kristen, if you could tell us a little bit about the home program and how WAVE services are helping people become homeowners, that would be great.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kristen Ballard, Supervising Housing Counselor here at WAVE. So our home program is our homeowner and management education program. This program offers a holistic approach to home ownership, financial education, home management skills, and entrepreneur training. Our goal is to equip families with the knowledge and resources to support the need to become a successful homeowner and improve their financial well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So monthly, we hold every second Saturday of the month home buyers workshops. And on these workshops, the clients are able to, join this workshop. They are able to, hear Miss H.O.R.'s testimony of her journey. They are able to meet with a lender from one of the banks, First Commonwealth that we work with, Joe Tomaszewski. They're able to meet with a realtor that comes on there. One of our partners from State Farm that comes on and talks about insurance. Sometimes we have someone on there talking about life insurance and just different things that we can educate our clients on. And joining this workshop, they get to walk through the process of the steps of if you are at the bottom with your credit and you need to walk through, because some of them come in ready, some of them come in knowing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're able to teach them about, their budget and their credit and pull their credit report and review what needs to be done, what needs to be updated so that they can get that good credit score so that they are able to go over and work with a lender and be on their road to home ownership. And as spoke to earlier from Dallas, it's not a quick fix. It's not nothing that's going to happen overnight. It can be a process. So just getting the education that you need to walk through that process for home ownership. Some are ready in a few months. We've been working with them for a year or two. So It just depends on you, your situation, and getting you up to par, teaching you, educating you, empowering you to let you know that you can be a homeowner. I myself, a few years ago, when I started my journey, I was on the bottom. I had like a 500 credit score, and I knew I needed good credit because I attended a workshop in some previous years, but that's all I knew. But I didn't know that you needed to meet with a lender. I didn't know I knew you had to go through a bank, but I already got good credit. Okay, bank, give me the money. So I didn't know like you had to have the 2 years of a job on the job. I didn't know that you had to have a savings. I didn't know that there was a lot of programs that can assist you with down payment and closing costs. So attending these workshops can help you navigate that system and walk through that journey. And I myself just purchased a home earlier this year. So I'm a new homeowner. So everything that, thank you. So everything that I like to connect with the clients, when we are talking with them, when Ms. H.O.R. is meeting with them or Lene or one of our other housing counselors, and just let them know, we know what you're going through. We've been there. Everything that we're providing to you, I have essentially, used for myself. Some of the same templates to correct things on your credit. So I think it's better when they can connect with you and know that you've been where they've been. I've been on Section 8. I've been in low income housing. I've been around maybe all the people you grew up around in your community, not having a lot of people to look up to. My mom was a homeowner for a short while and then essentially not keeping up with her insurance. Our house caught fire and we lost our home. So just knowing those important details of what you need to do and walk through that process will help you to become a homeowner. And it is a lot of things that you have to go through, buckle down to do to get to that road. But it didn't happen overnight for me. It took me about 3 to 5 years. But I had to get serious with myself as we were speaking to. I had to look in that mirror at myself. Yep. So the home program is just trying to, get your financials together, your home management, and just being honest with yourself. So everything is holistic. Everything we're going to start at the bottom with you, your mental. Are you physically okay? Are you working? Do you need to improve more income? Sometimes I even suggest a homeowner taking a class multiple times because I've sat on the class multiple times, and each time I learned something new. So the ultimate goal is to get you to that finish line, to get you the assistance that you need, to get your financials in place, and you'll have good credit and you can live a completely different life. So be walking this journey can be life-changing. You can live a good different life. You have good credit. You can pretty much move how you want. You got your home, you got your savings, and then even afterwards, you still have to maintain some sort of counseling just to even be able to stabilize your home after you are a homeowner. And I think Lene can go into a little bit more about that part of it.
Yeah, what a beautiful testimony.
Yes.
Thank you.
I got so many questions. That was so good, Kristen. Like,
don't worry about
you did good, right?
I loved it.
I just wanted to jump in real quick before Lene so I could clarify something. We do not have an entrepreneurship program. The way Kristen is explaining it is because when people want entrepreneurship, we refer them to Catapult Greater Pittsburgh. However, in our home buying workshops, we talk about your home being an asset. And we talk about how, over a period of time, how you can have a home-based business. We talk about that from that perspective, from being an entrepreneur in your house. When I started a real estate firm, it was not in a brick and mortar. It was in my home. It was in my one little bedroom. And so we talk about how you can use those tax advantages and stuff like that there. So I want to make that very clear to the listeners. Do not call us for entrepreneurship. If you call us, we're going to say call Catapult Greater Pittsburgh, because that's not the thing that we do. However, we will train you when it comes to from a home-based business perspective. So let me
Ms.C.O.R, I love when you tell that story. I love that's like one of my favorite parts of when we're on a workshop, and Ms.C.O.R be talking about how she started the home-based business and hired her kids and paid them, and everyone's like, oh, you can do that, and they're getting all excited. So that's like one of the best parts of the key topics you be touching on in our workshops.
I love it. It's like you're showing people how to supplement their income in their home while they're going after home ownership, and I love that. Absolutely. And I think that's a good way to tie that in. And like the housing counseling, and then the home buyer education, and then you also partner with people to offer post-purchase services too, which Lene's going to talk about.
Yeah, Lene's going to talk about this new initiative with PHFA.
Tell us about it.
So yes, so I'm a housing counselor with W.A.V.E. My main focus is really helping first-time home buyers and also helping them after they purchase their home. So it's a two-part program. So basically the pre-purchase counseling, the first thing we do is identify your housing needs. We determine the price range that you can afford. We also decide on the appropriate mortgage loan. We also help our clients understand their credit worthiness. And we also help our clients improve their financial knowledge. So we do budget and credit counseling sessions. That's typically our first 2 sessions. And we pull their credit. We go over their credit reports. We make sure they understand their credit reports. We make sure they understand the debt to income ratio. We do a debt to income ratio. So our first time home buyers leave the counseling session feeling educated, feeling motivated, feeling better about themselves. And I feel better about myself because, I'm helping people. But just like Ms.C.O.R said, she said, okay, Lene, it's time to get yourself together too. So I myself are going to go through the program because she is really big on, walk it like you talk it. And that's real. You know what I mean? We all hold each other accountable. I've done this for so long, but I've never been held accountable. And that's what I love about our team. We all hold each other accountable. And so recently, PHFA came up with a new initiative, which is post-purchase counseling, because what we recognize is, we've helped a lot of people purchase a home. We got them there, but how are we helping them stay in their homes? Right? How are we doing that?
That's so important.
When you're at the closing table, because I am a licensed real estate agent, we're at the closing table. I mean, it's so many documents. They're signing their life away. You don't remember everything that they discussed at the closing table. So they need us to sit down and go over things, again. Also, we discuss things like, money management, setting up a home prevention plan, what home prevention grants are out there for you once you move in. Also, just knowing about maintaining your property, financial literacy altogether. You know what I mean? These are things that are important. How are we going to keep them in their home? If you lose your job, what are you going to do? There's different options out there that HUD and PHFA has for individuals in their situations, but a lot of people don't know because, again, like they said, we're not educated. All we know is, well, I probably got like 90 days, but no one's holding them accountable, putting a budget, saving that money, reaching out to someone instead of not answering those phone calls. You know how we all get, I don't know, that 1-800 number is nothing but a bill collector. You know what I mean? We don't want our people to run from the bill collector. We want them to know it's okay to call and make payment arrangements. It's okay to let them know that you're going through a financial burden. It's okay to share with me. You need to be honest and upfront so that we can better assist. So it's all about educating our people, keeping families at home once we help them get to the finish lines, maintaining their property. You look at our neighborhoods. I'm from Homewood. It's devastating what I see, houses, property value. My family all came from here. My family had businesses. I mean, I literally am in my aunt's house and I look across the street and it used to be houses. Now it's just land.
Yeah.
We lost so much.
Yeah.
And that to me is heartbreaking. So I'm very passionate about it. So yes, I want us to move back in the neighborhoods, own your home, maintain your property, take a sense of pride in your property. Even when you're renting the property, it has to start somewhere. Yes. It has to start from the place that you're renting because it prepares you, it gets your mind ready, your mindset to start that home purchase, the home purchase program. So, that's our goal. And I'm just grateful again. Catapult R&I.H also is another program. I mean, us teaming together it's amazing because we are helping people. When I talk to people, they're like, thank you, Lene. I'm so grateful. You know what I mean? You're teaching me so much. They've learned so much from both programs and our first time home buying workshops. Like Kristen said, it may be 8 hours, but guess what? It's 8 hours of knowledge for free.
For free. I was just going to say for free.
Yes. All of our services are free. We raise money because we are PHFA and HUD certified. It gives us the ability to provide these services to the state. To our clients. And this post initiative just kicked off October 1st for post rental counseling. HUD provided $450,000, $250,000 or something like that there. We went to Harrisburg and it was $250,000 and we were one of the agencies selected.
I love that. I love that. I love, like I said, I love it all. And I especially love that holistic approach that you're all taking. And just listening to everybody speak here, I feel like that you guys really stand out because it's like you're not only providing this service, but you're so relatable. Everything that you guys are saying, everything that you've been through is so relatable to the people that's probably going to join your programs and the people that need your services. So I really think that this is great. And I really look forward to seeing where everyone ends up and how this all works out. Yeah, Dallas.
Can I say one more thing I just realized?
Sure, go ahead.
Whenever I jumped in and I was kind of like piggyback, I didn't even introduce myself. realize. I was like, hi, I'm
and I'm sorry. I thought I introduced you. Dallas. I'm so sorry.
I was like, let me hurry up because I see our timer. I'm Dallas. I am the W.A.V.E case manager and also housing counselor. So I just wanted to put that on record.
Yes. We'll be talking to Dallas. So if you sign up for any of the tenant assistance things or anything like that, Dallas is probably going to be one of the first people that you come in contact with.
9 times out of 10, it's
intake. So
they probably already know who you are, but this team, like, and everything, like, and I've been working with W.A.V.E for a while, like, just seeing the way that you're growing these new initiatives and the approach that you're taking is really beneficial, I think, to the community, like Allegheny County and even beyond. Hopefully it's national one day, because I really think that a lot of people need to do this. I don't know. I had a good conversation with you guys. I really think I even learned a little bit more, and just hearing everybody talk. I think everybody else here, we had a few commenters here. Everybody's like congratulating y'all. Y'all see it later on, but
I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple of our team members. Janice Lewis, she is our administrative assistant. She helps keep everything afloat within the office. Latasha Mills, she is one of our housing counselors as well. She could not be on today, as well as Brittany Davis. She's another housing counselor. So I don't want to, I'm a little emotional because it is my son's birthday, and I'm so grateful for the team and for everything that you all have done and just been a beacon for me in the days that I have been low. And I'm grateful for everybody who has believed in W.A.V.E. I'm grateful for Hines Endowment, Pittsburgh Scholar House, Tina Daniels, Benedict Dwellings giving us the opportunity, Hillman Foundation. There's so many foundations, I can't say it all. Allegheny County Housing Authority, Opportunity Fund. There's so many, so I'm gonna but they're on our website. So you could go to www.waveoflife.org. Our office is 412-573-9217. But I just want to acknowledge the entire team for all the hard work that we have done. Did I forget anybody? No.
I mean, there's a lot of partners because a lot of people believe in W.A.V.E. Yes. That's just a testament to that. All these partners just go to show that they believe in the work that you're doing, the work that you're going to continue to do, and the need that this organization has in the community. So I believe in you guys, and I know everybody else does too. I think this was a good info session. I think we'll have plenty more in the future. We'll just get on here and just discuss things, have Q&As and things like that.
And have some other team members come on.
Yep. So thank you guys. Thank you for logging on and letting everybody know about your programs.
And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate this. This was good. This was good, right? And to any landlords that are on the live feed, if you're a property manager, you have property and you have tenants that think that the R.E.D.Y program will help gear your tenants into helping them with credit budget and just meeting their financial goals, please do not hesitate to reach out to me again, Tiona Weston, Housing Counselor with W.A.V.E organization. The information, the number that Ms. Short just provided. So yes, property managers, landlords, we're here for you too. And
don't forget to follow W.A.V.E because you'll keep getting updates on there. So follow the W.A.V.E website. Follow us on YouTube.
What they say, W.A.V.E. What they say, W.A.V.E.
Yes.
And to the first-time home buyers, anybody looking to purchase a home or just want to get educated or just want to start working on your credit and budget, definitely reach out to us, follow us. We're here to assist.
Yes.
And I have a workshop this October 24th and the 6th. Just throwing it out there.
Yes. All the stuff that's going on, you want to know what's going on, know about it first. Follow the W.A.V.E social media platforms, and you'll hear about all the opportunities and announcements first. So, with that being said, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keisha.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.